This week we have a very interesting portion. As you're going to see, now we're developing through Vayeshev the different our patriarchs, our fathers. We start with Abraham Avinu, then we went to Ishak Avinu, and now we are with Yaakov Avinu, and we are going to see his 12 children and how they are going to participate in this narrative or development about Israel. If we make a little bit of we look back in the portions in Lech Lecha, we're going to see that there when Abraham Avinu came to the was sent by the Creator or guided by the Creator to come to the land of Canaan. He didn't know where he was going. He was only following the directions of the Creator. And that he was risking a lot without even knowing where he was going. And then we call it about to have the faith in the Creator, to trust the Creator, the bitachon, the emunah and bitachon. Not only he believed it, but he put in practice what he believed. And this is a very important teaching for all of us. Then the Creator is going to make some covenants, alliances, or breed. And one of them is the covenant or the parts, in which basically he is going to tell what is going to happen to Israel. And they say that 400 years they are going to be under the dominion of Egypt. Now, we count in those years, and sometimes we count in the year that really they were under Egypt, and we can count only 200 to 230 years, depending how we do the counting. And we ask him, what are the other 200 years where they appear, disappear, where they were? Well, our creators, our sages, let us know that the counting starts with a promise about Isaac was going to be born, and the moment that Isaac was to be born, we start counting the 400 years. And the idea, how would that happen? Well, the idea is that at that time, Egypt was really covering all that area, and our patriarch had not really settled in the land. Why I say this is because in this parasha, Vayeshev, they say, and Jacob settled. But Jacob really didn't settle anywhere. He was from one place to another place to another place, But what it really means is that he basically start now resting, taking a time to rest. And we see the story about Joseph. It's going to begin the story of Joseph. And also in a parallel, we are going to develop the story of Judah. Our sages talks about that this is two focus about the two types of Mashiach that we are going to have. Now, the idea of Mashiach is an idea that is developed later on, It's not something that is in the scripture like that. This is the doctrine, or this is the teaching about Mashiach. All about Mashiach is a developing of ideas that our sages take out of the scriptures, and they read and they interpret. But one thing is clear in all of this, is that the Creator not only is in charge, that the Creator has I would say, something that is going to let us know is going to happen. He has a script already. And this doesn't mean that we don't have free will, but he knows where we begin and where we are going to end. And in that period of time, also, he's going to give us this idea that he always is going to be there, no matter what, to cover and to support Israel And Israel not necessarily needs to behave well in order that the Creator intervene. Because this is another idea that has come to the time in our sages, that supposedly, only when all Israel is nice, only all Israel keeps the Shabbat, all Israel does this thing and these other things good, that is when everything is going to be okay, honky-dory. Well, that's not what the Torah told us. The Tanakh, our prophet, totally the contrary. It's going to tell us that we are going to be going from bad to worse, and instead to get better, it's getting worse. And we are seeing right now. I don't want to be pessimistic or to be those people who tell you everything is going to be bad and is going to be destroyed, there is no hope, or this kind of thing. But it's to give us this very clear message. All of us, we are responsible for what is happening. All of us. Many of us, we wash our hands. I don't want to be part of this, or it's not my problem. No, it's the other problem. But meanwhile, I have voice, and I have a capability to give out my thoughts or to speak out, I need to do it. And Mishlei, in the book of Proverbs, at the end of the book of Proverbs, in chapter 31, verses 7 and 8, where it says, we are the mouth and the eyes of those who cannot speak for themselves, those who cannot see for themselves. We need to speak for those who that cannot speak for themselves. We are responsible. We want it or not, we are. Well, here, in this story, the Creator wants to show us how we are going to get to be slaves in Egypt, how we are going to become slaves. And this tragic thing is going to begin. Then Jacob has a son called Joseph. He is the 11th one of the line of descendants. He has 12 children, 12 boys. I'm sorry, because he had one daughter, Dina. Now, in this story, it's very clear that Jacob preferred over all his children Joseph. And you ask yourself, how a father can be so blunt, so openly, to prefer one of his children? Even in the Torah say that he loved Joseph more than any other children, more than any other child. Look and listen carefully. Because was the son of his beloved wife, Rachel. Now, if you are part of these children, how will you feel? If you are the oldest, or you have more importance, or you feel that you have more rights than the others, and suddenly somebody else come and say to you, I am now number one. Well, it's natural that there's going to be some kind of jealousy, and more than jealousy, could be some kind of hate against the other, dislike the brother. Jacob not only showed that he loved him, preferred him, but he made a beautiful coat for him. They call it the coat of many colors, or many lines, or whatever the translation of that word pasim means. That even today we are not sure what it really means. But it was an indication that he was saying to all the children, he is my successor. That also goes totally contrary to what we see in the Torah. In the Torah very clear says you have two wives and you have and the beloved wife and the hated wife, they say. But if the son of the hated wife is the number one, he is the one that needs to inherit it. You know, the Bechorot, the firstborn rights. But this was the firstborn of his beloved wife, Rachel. Then Jacob was going against everything. Our sages teach us, it's very interesting, in our writings, they teach us that we do not need to make any type of preference among our children because we are going to commit a very big mistake. With so much wisdom, how Jacob could be so blinded? It was not something that had been revealed to him or he knew better than everybody else. Then what is the problem here? You know, everybody talks about that Joseph was a brat, that he was very stuck up and did this and did that, and his brothers, sometimes they had the right to do this and to do that. Let's leave it all those things from one side. I want, like I told you, I would like to bring from the Torah something that could help us today. Okay? And how we can apply these teachings and these stories for us today. Let me tell you, one of the things that us as human beings we differentiate from any other creation is the capability of communicating, talking. We can talk to each other. And you know, and one of the greatest problems that I've seen in a regular life, you know, remember I have more than 40 years as a counselor. And I've been counseling families, I have been counseling children, I have been counseling everything that you can imagine, I have been counseling. And one of my, the very early comes this problem, the lack of communication. You will be surprised. You will be surprised when somebody does something against others. You know, and you see this idea that there are two people that they have a dispute, and one of these two subjects got upset, okay, and hold something against the other. But instead to go and deal with the issue, he keeps quiet. And what happens when you keep quiet when you have been hurt? We're humans. You know, our hurt doesn't go away. Like many people say, oh, it's going to go away. Totally the contrary. It starts increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. Let me tell you, I personally, I have had that experience. One time, no, here I don't need to mention names or anything like that. If you feel like I am talking about you, that's your problem, but I am not talking about you. But that time, somebody got very upset with me because I did something that was totally unaware that what I was doing was hurting the person. And instead to come and to tell me, Rabbi, you have done this, I don't like it the way that you have acted or the way what you have said, and that go directly against me, and I feel insulted, or I feel that you are talking against me or whatever. This person kept it for years. And finally, these people left this place, and they start talking about that. And you know, I was not aware at all. I didn't even remember when I say what I say, if I say it. Many times we misinterpret other people. And instead to go and talk to the person, why you did this to me, or why do you say this to me? And I am pretty sure that the other person will be able to say, you know what? I am sorry I was not aware that I was hurting you, or I'm sorry I didn't even realize. At the moment that the other person immediately apologized or accept and recognized that was not his or her intention to do something wrong against the other person, you know, the whole drama is gone away. Look at here about the 11 brothers against really 10 brothers against Joseph. You know, he was the most hated by his brother because daddy was his number one. He was favorite. Why didn't go, first of all, to the father, to Jacob? You know, maybe because it's too much respect to the father. At that time, you didn't confront your father. But what about to talk with the brother? He was even younger than them. I say, you know what? I know that our father loves you more than anybody else. You are better than, you think you're better than all of us, but at least behave. Be at least, you know, don't act in that way. And maybe Joseph will see that he couldn't brag so much and he needed to hold on. And maybe talking among themselves, all this wouldn't happen. You don't have an idea the power of talking to each other, the power of conversation. Because in that way, you eliminate many things that you have created in your mind. How many of us, we assume things when they are not right? We think that's the way. Or that's the intention of this person. That person doesn't like me. He wants to do something against me. You know? And we all, it's an imagination. We work up this, and then we feel ourselves more and more of the bitterness, what I call it, the poison that is going to embitter your soul. You see here, this is what happened with Joseph and his brothers, to the point that they were ready to kill him. They didn't kill him. They sold him. And they told his father, their father, they told their father that was an animal that has killed. They found the coat, very interesting. That coat that he has made, they kill a lamb and they put it in blood and they send it. This is another point that is very interesting in the narrative of the Torah. You know, the idea of midah keneg midah, the idea of measure for measure. Do you know that Jacob deceived his father, putting a skin of a lamb, you know? And now his brothers are going to kill a lamb and put the blood of the lamb to tell Jacob. And this is one thing that Jacob is going to suffer over and over again. At the same time, in the parallel, develop the story of Judah. And you ask, what Judah has to do with Joseph? Look at the mentality in the Torah. Who will need to be the real Behorot, the real prime, the real inheritor? Needed to be Reuben. Reuben lost it because what he did with Silpa, or Bilhah, one of the two. The second is, what about Shimon? That was the second one. But Shimon had a personality and a character with Levi that they were, they lost it when they killed all these people after to vengeance Dinah. What was the next one in the line? Judah. Then what the Torah is telling you now that all these three first that they were going to occupy the place of being the Bechorot came to Judah. Then the Torah is telling us that there is an order. Even though for Jacob the favorite was Joseph, the real way needed to be Judah. And that created two Bechorot, Judah and Jacob. I'm sorry, and Joseph. Judah and Joseph. And here is where the idea of the two redeemers or two Mashiach are going to come. You know, the suffering Mashiach is Joseph, and the conquering Mashiach is from Judah, King David, you know, descendant of David. And that it is the narrative in our traditions. But really, what is the bottom line of these stories? The bottom line of these stories is, first of all, that we need to learn about the mistakes of our fathers, the mistakes of our elders, in order not to commit it again. Secondly, they is telling us that there was a reason why all these things happening. Because we were not doing the things the right way. No? And not doing the things in the right way, we create a crisis. And there are consequences. When you don't do the things in the right way, you want it or not, there are going to be consequences. That's what I say. Thirdly, here is interesting. The Creator has made us a promise. He will never abandon us. You know, here is not about if you have faith or you don't have faith. Here is not about if you are good or you are bad. Here is not about if you follow the Ten Commandments or you don't follow the Ten Commandments. He has given his word that he won't abandon Israel. But he doesn't say that Israel will not suffer the consequences for the behavior. But he will always keep Israel. You know? We learn from this especially that it's going to happen something. Israel is going to fall in captivity. It's going to be in a place of being slaves. They were going to be captive by the Egyptians. And for a long time. And then when they come out, they are going to be free again. Every morning, we read the Ten Commandments. At the beginning of the Ten Commandments start, I am your God, the one who took you out of Egypt, make you free from slavery. What it means to make you free from slavery? That he give you the capability to be yourself. What happens when you are a slave? You depend on others. Now you are not going to be a slave anymore. Now, not even he teach you about depending on him, as many religions that teach you. But he say, I am giving you the freedom to start depending on yourself and acknowledging who I am, but I have given you this right. Comes the greatest promise of the Creator about each one of us. I keep teaching over and over again that we are the only ones responsible for what happened to us. And even that Joseph, at the end, he was able to bring Israel back and to save Israel for a period of time. The consequences of Israel was even worse because they became slaves. and they needed to get out of that slavery. My question to you is, we are in a process in our lives. All of us, we are going in our life. And some of us, we have discovered certain things. We know that there are areas that we ourselves are our worst enemies. You know? And we still have that attitude, nobody's going to change me, I am the way that I am. And I do not want to improve, not because it's not good for me, but I don't want to improve because I am proud. Jacob, with all his position of being the best one in his family, went down to the lowest of the lowest places to be in prison. Joseph. And when Joseph came out of prison, what happened with Joseph? He was elevated. And why he was elevated? Because finally he acknowledged who he was. He never failed. And let me finish with this thought to all of you. Tomorrow we began Hanukkah in the evening. And what it means, Hanukkah? Hanukkah is we call it the Feast of Lights, or the Feast of Dedication. That's how we call it. But really what it is, Hanukkah, is about no to assimilation. I am in a community that we come from so many different backgrounds. Many of us, we come from different backgrounds. And the question is, assimilation to what? And I want to tell you the assimilation. The assimilation to the values of this world. We need to keep the values of the Torah. And we need to get rid of the values of this world. This world is destructive. But we need to keep the values of the world. Joseph did that. Even that he was in prison, even that he was tempted, even that they were trying to do a lot of things with him, he never, ever fell to the Creator going to the other side. He kept his own principles and his own values. Shabbat shalom to all of you.